Welcome to our 166th episode, my fourth day in a row of some kind of episode of Guerrilla Radio.
Burning the midnight oil, man.
I know. Tomorrow night, I'm not going to know what to do. So, talked girls wrestling last night, and we're going to do that again next week, probably next Thursday. So, I'm doing at least two next week. And then I got Team State tonight. So, new rankings came out today. So, four new number ones.
Pretty exciting. Obviously we were at Al Smith, so we've seen a couple of those guys go down.
We got four new number ones. Gendress at 120, Shepard at 138, Brabender at 57, and Costello at 175. So,
we saw all the four number ones go down.
Yeah, so, and then this week, the number ones aren't probably going to be very safe either because they're going to all have some good matches. All of them except for Boyd will be at 4A, so that'll be good to see. Will Boyd have anybody?
Well, Brabender will be at 3A, right?
Brabender, sorry. Yes. So we're going to get into Team State here. Let's see, does Brabender have anybody that could push him? I don't know if he does. I guess Monrovia would be back. Is Monrovia? Yeah, Monrovia is at 2A. 3A would have. Oops, that was 1A that I just clicked. 2A will have Boyd, Royce Malone, and Griffin Byram. So likely could have a little bit of a rematch there. I don't think they're on the same side of the bracket. 3A has Brabender, Kevon Russell, Lincoln Cooper, Noah Bannett, so he could be pushed a little bit. You did expand the 157 to 30 this week, so.
Yep, just a random weight, just picking random weights to throw out.
Yeah.
A couple more weeks of it.
So we'll go over 1A first. One we know probably least about. I have a little. I'll move it over to the other screen. So we have a nice little matchup collaborator. So you can kind of see what the teams match up with. You can put in any team. Like I don't think West Central has very many kids ranked.
Yeah, 32, 38. I mean,
yeah.
106 is pretty good. They have a kid, Noose, is pretty good. He's like right on the outside of the semi-state rankings.
Mm-hmm. So these are all based on the state rankings. So, you got Adams Central having a pretty good season. They've been pretty. They had a real close one with Belmont. They, pretty good resume together so far. And then they'll probably have North Miami. North Miami has a few good kids. They've actually had a pretty. They've McIntyre, correct, Hartley Hoover. Kind of looking at some of the matchups. We'll talk about as we get going to the other ones. So you got South Adams, Tell City. Tell City is pretty. They're always scary.
I haven't seen a lot of Southmont results this year. I know they're at the Trikoff. I know they have a couple guys right in the middle that are pretty good too. So that should be a good one out the bat with South Adams. South Adams has a lot of guys. I was talking to Sprunger tonight. A couple guys right outside the rankings. I know Ballenbacher had just fell out of the rankings. So that could be a good first round match.
Yeah, they got Loshi, Sprunger, Ballenbacher, Isaiah Meyer. So could be some interesting. It's always interesting when you get to this level where you're like Southmont's used to getting Cade and Marlon Williams and Woodall getting matches coming they're guaranteed pretty much 18 points in a 1A match, but if there's some bumping going on, maybe they can take out, but maybe Cade takes out Ballenbacher, and that's a match that South Adams is looking at to get 4 or 6 points, and now you just cancel that out. Based on if they have somebody in there that can replace Cade and do well. So it's always interesting where they have backups and stuff. So should be some interesting matches. It's always 1A is always crazy. Kind of interested. Tell City has a pretty good team. So Tell City, Hagedorn, Sprunger, Fort Wendell, Stevens, the Terry brothers up top. So that should be pretty good one. I mean, them and Adams Central would be a. You got Curry versus Terry. Bloom's pretty tough. Zach Worm right up top, and that's one of those. Adams Central's used to getting about 18 points up top. If you can cancel one of those, you're going to give yourself a pretty good chance to win. So you got the other big ones on the bottom side. You got Prairie Heights.
We just got to see Prairie Heights and going against Faith Christian. Faith Christian's done a good job. I know they had a nice win a couple weeks ago. I believe that they beat McCutcheon.
Yeah.
So I know McCutcheon was in the talk for 3A.
Yep. Faith Christian has Zach White and Cameron Brown. Should have pulled in the semi-state stuff, but yeah. Hagwoods and Levitts for Prairie Heights. They also have some other good guys down low. Against Rochester, you could have a 14 and 18. Then you have Levitts right there in the middle. He wrestled Chase Leach, so I think it was 7-5, 8-7 maybe, or 8-7.
Yeah,
something like
that. He looked pretty good at the Osmond too. Like obviously we just seen Prairie Heights, and those guys go to battle, man. I really like the Hagwood brothers. I think they're explosive. They wrestle an exciting style of wrestling.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. Them and Prairie Heights and Rochester both have a lot of tradition in the 1A division. West Central, as we said, we had them. West Central and Rochester or Cowan. Cowan has a pretty solid. I mean, they have
Cowan and Bluffton.
Yeah, Cowan and Bluffton should be a good one because you got. Oops, wrong one. John's right there in the middle. Bumping him up to take on Bone Keith, who's had some good wins lately. Excuse me, Juan Cruz, pretty good right there. So
I think and not to be like disrespectful to 1A, but if you can get, in any of those, like you got 5 or 6 guys that are in the rankings or right on the cut of the rankings, those are going to be a lot like more guaranteed wins.
Yeah,
you're not see as many of those upsets, and then. I think a lot of these guys probably have kind of seen each other. Like Cascade was at Mooresville. I don't know who else would have been at Mooresville from there. But, so I think we obviously, I said we've seen Prairie Heights. Faith Christian's done a really nice job.
I haven't seen Rochester, but we know they have they have a good team. So it should be, this is going to be an interesting class. I think, West Central obviously threw everything, a monkey wrench into everything because they beat Rochester 2 weeks before the tournament, so in a head-to-head duel. So obviously them and Rochester could possibly be in the semis, and that'll be an interesting one. But that it's one of those common opponents that just bumps everyone down a seed. That everyone was probably expecting Rochester to be number 2, Tell City 3. So I think that Tell City Adams Central match could be real good.
That's 2 teams that have a ton of tradition. Tell City's won the last how many in a row have they won now?
3, I think.
And then Adams Central has a couple championships.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of 1A championships on that top bracket.
Yeah, and you got they've had a bunch of them. Rochester hasn't won one. I know Prairie Heights has won a couple. Churubusco won one. I think I'd have to look at the sheet to tell you. So yeah, it should be some good wrestling there. Obviously, some brackets that are, it'll be fun to see how this shakes out when we get there. So,
Big Troy. Yeah, I think it'll be a very interesting as it goes on, just to kind of see how those guys match up, and if you do have one of those, big guns, can you move them around and. Obviously, like they're not moving Zach Worm out, like he's a heavy. But yeah. Landon Terry, Noah Terry, real tough up top, and those guys are gonna do everything in their power to defend those titles.
Yeah,
I seen Triple B getting a little trash talk online.
Of course. can't. You always got to give Triple B a hard time. He had a rough day, so be nice to him though. Back to school day and is a good one. So 2A Team State, that's going to be another good one. The good thing about this is a lot of these teams have seen each other. Belmont and possibly Western could have the Mitchell Betts Gavin Davis rematch. That'd be a good one. Belmont has wrestled Delta and they have not wrestled Jay County. Belmont beat Delta by 1 point. Delta beat Jay County. So they've wrestled Belmont they've beaten Wawasee and I believe in Delta. So it should be interesting to see how these all shake out. Mechanical Heritage Hills has some good upper weights.
Heritage Hills is one of the teams that I suggested. Like, I'd like to see those guys maybe get into Al Smith. I mean, Jet Goldberry, Parker Hart, Hayden Smith. I think Hayden Smith's undefeated still.
Yeah, so that should be. They have 3 guys up top that'll close them out pretty good. Obviously,
Mechanical has some pretty good big guys too. I think isn't Riggleman and they might have some guys hit right there.
Yeah,
Riggleman, Farnell, Braden Raber. He was a state player last year.
Yeah. So yes, could have some good matchups right there. I mean, win or lose, in the duel, a team like Mechanical, even Heritage Hills, for them to get some good matches and for them to actually help the rankings a little bit by having some of those ranked matchups, you can really Ringleson gives Goldsberry a good match, goes to overtime. That'll probably bump him up 5-ish spots in the rankings. Yeah,
I think Goldsberry's only lost to Brewer. Or not Brewer, but
Terry. Yeah, no
Terry's
Terry.
only lost to Brewer. Sorry. Yeah, you got that could be a pretty good first round match. And then the winner gets who they get after that, Belmont.
Yeah.
I mean, Belmont's gonna have some guys hitting there up top. Cole Mendez is wrestling well.
Duke Myers.
Keegan Martin's really good. Yeah, Duke Meyer. Luganville and Alex Smith. Alex Smith, I thought he had a really good summer, didn't he? I thought he had a really good showing at one of the big summer events.
I think he was a Greco All-American 2 years ago or a year ago. So yeah, that's pretty good credentials. So that'd be they got some guys that can get some wins, and obviously, like we said, it's a little more. Teams are a little bit more solid top to bottom. I think Belmont has a real good team top to bottom, but if you can match up well with them, I think it can be really close. Them and Delta, I was looking at their results previously. They bumped Stevens and Russell up. And
is Colton Romas back now or no?
I do not know. Was he? He might have been back. Let me see. I thought he might have wrestled, but maybe I'm thinking of Stevens.
Stevens is wrestling really good. I heard a lot of good things out of Mooresville. They said he looked like he was on another level. He turned the corner really well. So
yeah. Romness wrestled 44 at Mooresville. He wrestled 144, so that's going to be, and he was 5th. So he went 5-2. It looks like. So he was at 44. So that's where we have him. So that Romness Wolpert should be a good match there. And Romness did not wrestle, I believe, in that in the duel originally. So that's going to be one where they're going to possibly. I mean, if they make it that far, it'll be something that they can, grab, make up those points. So. You got Delta and Jay County, or actually Delta and Hamilton Heights. Let's see what that one looks like. Mo Boyd, Kuhn Mosier, that could be a good one. Pugh, Romness, Fede Kane. So yeah, Hamilton Heights, I think they lost some guys last year, but they are pinners. Number one, they're pinners, and they're tough guys to wrestle. So, I mean, don't be surprised if they toss you to your back and put you you know, have an upset or two. I think they had a couple last year, and that propelled them to top four finish. And I'm sure.
Yeah, I think. I mean, Western's pretty good too. I mean, we got to see Western this past week. I'm sorry, I'm moving some stuff around. Rensselaer, Monrovia. They could have some good matches right off the bat. I know at 106, down low, Monrovia is as good as anybody.
Yeah, those bottom three are pretty tough. Malone, Ash, and Ash. So yeah,
you can get Ash and Canner Tishner, which would be a pretty good match.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Good test for Tishner. Western will have that bye, so yeah, that should be. I mean, you pulled an upset there, and then I mean, you got Falkenberg sitting right there. You get 4 wins, and you're only looking to pick off 3 of their guys, and they have, you know, obviously we have a lot of blanks in there, but you know that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So Jay County, Jay County should be. Jay County has a pretty good team. And oops, we got our outs in there. Jay County and Oak Hill. So Tate Curtis, Liscano. No ranked matchups there. Oak Hill is a pretty solid team though. Top to bottom. I mean, they lost to Western in an invite that was pretty close. So you know they have some pretty good kids. Let's see.
Yeah, them and Wawasee could be a good one right off the bat. And Wawasee has a handful of kids that are pretty solid too. Donovan Blair, Salazar, center state qualifier. They're I want to say their 150 is pretty solid.
Yeah. So should be some good matches there. So Jake.
I mean, Newberry Hamilton Heights could be right off the bat. I mean, Newberry's got some hammers. They got some guys that I would be willing to bet are going to get wins. I mean, you figure you're going to have Hyvert.
There we go. Prairie and Hamilton.
Yeah, so you're probably going to hit Jalen Pugh and those guys in the middle there.
Yeah. Yeah, Fettig.
Carson Freeding, Jaden Lewis.
Yeah.
I think their 13's pretty good. So, I mean, there's 4 guys. Maybe they can get a win there. 5, and just like you said, they just got to pick off a couple more. Yeah. I like my chances with if I'm running Jeffrey and Jaden Lewis out there.
Yeah. If they're closing out with there, so it should be. I mean, a lot of this will kind of depend on coin flips.
Good win for Northwood. I thought Northwood looked good this weekend.
Yeah, I did too. They have they have some young guys that are doing pretty well, and yeah, they were pretty surprising this past weekend. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad loss. I think Northwood probably, I don't know if they're 3A or 2A, but if they're 2A, which they might be in the running for a spot next year, because I think they return a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I think whoever's doing their kids club's doing a really nice job.
Yeah. So Delta and Jay County potential. That could be some, there's some good matches. You got Mosier, Rollis, Wood, Tuttle. I think one of the things you look at right here, Jay County has Byram, who's pretty solid, but he's going to run into Jensen Boyd, which is not a good matchup for him.
Yeah, and Witten Camp's in Illinois now, and A.J. Meyer has an injury, so I don't think those guys are not going to be in there.
No. That's why they say out. And then, so yeah, Delta's not a good matchup for Jay County. Just looking at Byram and Rollis, who you're counting on wins against 2A guys about 99% of the time, and not expecting them to lose, and now they're fairly heavy underdogs there. So that means your other guys are going to have to pick up the slack and get after, do what they need to do. So that's I think Jay County might match up better they might match up fairly well with Belmont, and they do.
Yeah.
But they got to get past. I mean, it's at these levels, it's still a little bit more about a matchup, and who can you move in and move out and try to get some wins, steal some wins here and there. So
I think a lot of. I mean, I'm sure anytime you it's all about matchups in the duels, man, and who's gonna make moves and counter moves. So I always think that's like the interesting part about duels, and it's not always necessarily gonna be. I mean, we're talking about the main guys, but it could come down to 75, and neither of those guys have a rank 75.
Yeah, 75, 90. Obviously, Belmont has Mendez, who had a good tournament. But still, some of those guys that aren't on the list or in these duels are going to probably make a huge difference. And I remember it was a couple years ago at 1A. I can't remember who Prairie Heights was wrestling. Might have been like Adam Central. It came down to like just a weight class where neither of these guys had winning records. They didn't, they were never probably even regional qualifiers, and they were the ones that the match came down to, and pretty cool experience for both of them. And that's why we have these duels.
Yeah, I think that's always like one of the really cool things about the duel is like you just never know who's gonna be the guy that night, or who's gonna pull off an upset, who's gonna go out there and get a big win, or a match where they're writing down 6 and you're gonna get someone that's gonna show up and not get pinned, or
Yeah. So
we wrestled a ton of big duels at Calumet, and I know Coach Watkins loves the duel format. And I mean, there was guys, you have your guys that are your hammers, and you're trying to get your other guys to figure out, like, can you save points? Can you pick off a win? Can you move some pieces around? And I always thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Was he one that would kind of tell you, hey, we just need you not to get pinned here, or was it more just?
Yeah. No, he would. I think when the toss-up matches, like, he would say, hey, we need, he'd always lean your way in a toss-up match. But if you're going out against, we wrestled Portage a ton in like late 90s, early 2000s. So 99, 2000, we wrestled Portage. He's trying to tell you to save bonus points. But they were really good. I mean, I think we would need a lot more to go our way. But I know I didn't. I was supposed to save like bonus points against Eric Keith one year, and it didn't happen. But
yeah,
like you try your best, but it's incredibly tough.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things to try to convey to a kid is, okay, you're gonna probably lose this match, but just don't get pinned. Do everything you can tonight, and that's one of the hardest things, because in coaching you're trying to coach this kid to win every match. Obviously reality sets in that the kid's not going to win every match. He might be a regional level kid or whatever, and it's like, how do I nicely tell this kid, okay, go out there, battle, just don't go to your back. It's one of those things as a coach. It's almost. I mean, I know the good coaches are really good at that, but it's so hard to do.
Yeah, I think like I've always heard Dave Maldonado do a really good job of that. Always tells the guys just do your best, and like you try not to get pinned by anybody, right?
Yeah.
Like I think he's always done a really good just being around him and kind of hearing some of his philosophies and stuff. I think he's always done a really nice job of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No. It's.
If you're telling a kid to do their best, and no one's ever trying to get pinned. I think that's like the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
sometimes it just is, man. Sometimes you run into a hammer and there's nothing you can do.
Oh yeah. So, anything else we want to talk about 2A? I think it's going to be I think Belmont's the favorite here, but I think Delta is hungry. They're going to have to, battle, get through Jay County again, beat Hamilton Heights, which beat them in the quarterfinals last year, I believe. And, I think that finals could be really interesting. There might be some bumping going on if they make it that far,
yeah.
So.
I mean, I know a lot of those teams are pretty like closely located too, so I'm sure. Where's that being held at? Jay County?
Yeah, Jay County, right in the middle.
Do they say like if you lose first round, you go wrestle in the cafeteria?
Yes, losers wrestle in the cafe.
That's wild.
Yeah,
I've never been there. Is it a big cafeteria? Is it like an open cafeteria?
I assume it's pretty big because they have 2 mats in there, so.
I mean, I think Calumet has a pretty big cafeteria with some pillars in there, but it's not like a high ceiling or anything. It wouldn't be good. It wasn't good to watch like fights at lunchtime.
Nice. Yeah, I've been there a couple times, and I don't recall the cafeteria, but it obviously must be big enough. I mean, you go through the lunch line and grab your Fiesta pizza and, watch a couple wrestling matches.
Sure, man. That's just wild.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, kind of they have you in the wrestling room, so you win the brawl behind the wall.
yeah,
But
yeah. I don't know why they, um, I because you can run it on four mats. It's going to be a little bit longer, but I don't know. That's why I don't know. I was like, you can run on four mats. You're gonna have to stack things a little bit, but you're still. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to pass that along to the powers that be. I go, hey, we can run on four mats and not have to have the auxiliary because they only open up the first two rounds will only be on the four mats, and then they'll start doing the extra mats. So I guess the second round you could run on two mats or the other one. So we will move on one 3A, the expanded 3A version.
yeah,
I don't even know
I
where to
listened to the
begin
whole
with this one.
X. Did they go on kind of how that happened and stuff?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, they talked about it a little bit, and so yeah, this is gonna be. I don't even know where to start. I think the Ron Kelly Hobart match is gonna be good.
Yeah,
I think that one's gonna be pretty. I mean, if I was Hobart, I probably diss them too much, so I can't be them, thankfully. But I think that's gonna be some good matches. Rossman, Alban, Miguel Platico, and then Hobart, closes pretty strong. So I think I
yeah,
mean that's actually probably a pretty good matchup for them. They get a little bit away from some of their better guys, but then they also match up pretty well with a couple of their better guys, and have some right guys that are going up against there. So it should be interesting. You got 4-1, yeah. So I mean, Hobart's favored in about 7 matches right now. So
yeah. I think and they lost a couple of guys too. That I think that they thought were gonna have they were gonna have in the lineup. Sorry, man, I'm trying to get like comfortable here. I'm like all over the place. Uh, yeah, they lost a couple of guys. I think that they thought they were gonna have in the lineup. One guy's at Mount Carmel, so definitely one of those things that they might have been able to change that up a little bit, but they're gonna go out there with what they got, and I think what they got's pretty good.
yeah, Terre Haute South. They're kind of a wild card right now. We're not, you know, they're pretty good,
Huge
but we're
win for
not sure.
Cooper McCloy this past weekend.
Yeah, yeah. McCloy had a good weekend. So yeah, Dedu, and McGill. That'd be 14-17. Nice.
My hips like bothering me, man. I gotta like kind of move around a little bit. Yeah, I mean Cooper McCloy, that could be a huge one with Costello in there.
Yeah.
I mean, that one's gonna be tough.
You got 12-17 Tatum and Cassad, Murphy and Juris, 14-15. So you got some real close ranking matchups that look like they're 3 of the 4 favoring Terre Haute South, and so the Brickies are going to need to pull out a couple of little upsets here and there, and that could be a very interesting matchup there. Obviously, you get 1 or 2 of those in your favor, and life gets a little bit better, a little bit easier. But it looks like these teams match up almost perfect as far as the ranked matchups.
Yeah, and Terre Haute South's having a great year. Really good showing at Mooresville. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to kind of see how those guys do in that field, and they've earned that number 1 seed. I know they won a tournament early on against Columbus East, so
Yeah.
pretty excited for those guys.
So Franklin Community, Mishawaka. Was that like a 1 point? That was a pretty close match earlier in the season, wasn't it?
They wrestled at Trikoff, I know. I'm not sure. I thought Mishawaka wrestled really well at the Al Smith.
Yeah, yes, they did. They had quite a few placers, had some guys later in the tournament. It was, where's the track?
I know.
34-31.
I know Aiden Woods is kind of floated between 6 and 13. I mean, you got Blevins there for Mishawaka. I thought he wrestled pretty well. I think he lost in the blood round at Al Smith. It'll be interesting to see if they get Will Mason back. I know that's a big one for them.
Yeah, Brabender, Will Kennedy, Dunning had a good tournament. It was 34-31 the first time, so this could be, and let's see, I guess some of the matchups there. Where'd it go? 34-31. Walker over Trimpy. Brabender over Tante. There's a Aiden Woods over Brody Blevins was 4-3. That's a real close one. Some pins to close out for Franklin. So at 26, 32, and 38, and those are areas where a team, obviously Coach Sandifer is going to be like, hey guys, let's not get pinned here, and we're in this match.
Yeah, and Coach Tante's guys are generally pinners. So if you wrestle a Coach Tante trained team, those guys usually get a lot of falls.
Yes, they do. So that should be another good match in the quarters. East Noble and New Pal, there should be a couple good matches in there. Byerley Harbor.
I don't think Harbor wrestled this past weekend.
No, he didn't. I was looking at him for at the rankings, so no ranked matchups there. Should be some, New Palestine's pretty solid. I think they're planning on getting a couple guys back. That should be, I'm not sure exactly who else East Noble has, but New Palestine's definitely the favorite there. Floyd Central.
Yeah, I think they had a win over Roncalli early on, so I think really kind of locked in their spot for Team State.
Yeah. Floyd Central and New Pal match should be pretty good. As we're getting up into 3 and 4A, we're going to have a lot of more ranked matchups. You got Kessinger, Harbor, Finn Douglas, Butt, Bannett, Vandegrift, Kessinger, Hornsby. Obviously, May and Bannett should, not be tested. M. Ryan, Fane. So Floyd Central's the favorite here, probably just based on matchups, but it's still gonna, there's enough blank spots that some people can step up and get some big wins.
Yeah. You're gonna have to knock off a ranked guy, and that's the coolest thing about the dual format.
Yes.
I'm gonna get Drake on.
Okay. So we'll move on. Greenfield Central and Snyder. Harlow and Coy. That should be a good one. I know they're both on the edge of the rankings. Feezy is not wrestling for Snyder. He is out. Ignore that one. Dodson and Fleener. Dodson had a really good Al Smith, but looks like Greenfield Central just a little bit, in the middle. There should be some good matches. McGuire will have a who is it? Who's their 120 pounder? I know who it is. I cannot think of it. Rhodes, Deacon Rhodes there. That should be a good one. I know he's had some decent wins. So it should be some.
Ethan Dotson, probably the biggest jump for the rankings. You guys are about to get a tour of the house. Ethan Dotson, I think, went from the teens to number 7. Pretty good jump for him.
Yeah, he had a real good tournament. He beat. Just looking at some of the rankings, I'm seeing quite a few state placers that are right now not projected to place at state, which tells me we have some pretty good depth. Even at the heavier weights, which is usually a little bit thinner. That's one thing I kind of noticed in the rankings this week.
Fleener's had some good wins, so that should be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Washburn did have a big jump.
Yeah,
good catch, Brandon Barton.
Yeah, he beat Curry this past week. So yes, Greenfield Central's probably the favorite there, and then Columbus East.
I think Greenfield Central is just a really solid team, top to bottom. I know we talked about that, when we were kind of talking about teams to look at, you possibly suggest for Al Smith, and just top to bottom, they're a well-coached, just solid top to bottom squad.
Yeah, not many holes. And Columbus East is exactly the same way. They have a handful of superstars, and then it's just solid kids. They're going to go at you for 6 minutes, and it's not going to be fun. So you got Jessup. Did they wrestle? They did, didn't they?
Jet McGuire and Jessup, or Greenfield Central and Columbus?
Greenfield Central and Columbus East. I thought they wrestled at
I know they did last year.
Yeah. Columbus East won 40-23, so definitely a favorite for Columbus East, but a rematch isn't always guaranteed either. So looking at that duel, Anderson over Zuber 6-0. You got a Greenfield Central won at 157 by in overtime. Cooper Fall Lake over Fry Major. Gainan over McMahon 3-2. I mean that's a close one. Lanham Fall at 215. Fleener forfeit. Jessup Fall. Poling forfeit. Beneke Fall. Rutan 8-6.
I thought Jessup looked really good at Alsmith too.
Yeah. Kirkpatrick over Harlow. And Cooper over Miller 8-5. So there's some close matches in there that you're going to need to switch some things up, but at the same time, it's not out of the question there. And, both teams are going to be hungry to make the semis there. What's the Floyd Central matchup look like? Campbell, Jessup.
That could be a good one at 6.
Yeah. Kessinger, Kirkpatrick. Cooper, Bannett. Emrine, Lake, Fain, and then McMahon was I didn't realize he was a freshman. I made him a profile. Their 190 pound that placed at Al Smith is a freshman. That's not bad.
Not at all.
Yeah, this should have some good matches in here. Definitely through the middle, and Cooper has some people to bump around, might make it even more interesting.
It was Snyder over Homestead tonight. That's a good win for Snyder.
Oh, someone just posted. Oh, wow. That's a very good win for them. They're starting to wrestle well. They could be a bracket buster. I think they have some good enough kids in certain spots that they can, make things very interesting against any of these teams. They showed that they have some pretty solid kids in their lineup that they can build around. Let's see. So Franklin, what about Franklin and Terre Haute South?
Well, I think the East Chicago semi-state's going to break that whole bracket up.
I would not be, that. And Franklin doesn't have a whole lot of guys ranked, so that could be. It's very deceiving. I mean, these are only state rankings, but Terre Haute South closing up top with some pretty good kids. Franklin and Hobart. I almost spelled it Hobart. So yeah, that should be some. I mean, there's gonna be some good matches in there. Obviously, closing out up top. I think that's huge when you can, especially up top, is where you're probably gonna find some weaker kids for any of these teams, and being able to have some guys like they have up top, like Hobart does, could be huge. And then sprinkle in your 20 through 32 that are pretty solid. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they have 6 guys that are ranked, pretty much going to be guaranteed wins in about 80% of the matches in 3A. So that's huge when you're only fishing for 1 or 2 wins throughout your other eight matches. So, any other ones you want to look at? Comparison?
What's on the bottom? Who's the 2 seed there?
Columbus East. Yeah.
I mean, I know you hit on it when I was in the bathroom. Snyder and Greenfield Central could be a really good matchup.
Yeah.
Snyder has some guys that are going to get you some bonus points. They're a pretty exciting team.
Yeah.
And then Ton kind of gives you some flexibility. I know he's been at 6. He's been at 13. No VZ.
No VZ. Yeah, VZ is not there. Ignore that one.
Mishawaka Franklin, Larry had that, would be a good one. I think the top 4 there, New Pal Floyd could be a really good one. That's a pretty even field. I think that was the cool thing about going to 12 is there was a lot of teams that I felt like deserved to be in the mix there.
Yeah, I'm trying to kind of predict for some graphics and stuff, and You know, the other ones are a little bit easier to kind of, know who the top, teams are going to be here. Would I be surprised if it's New Pal and Hobart in the finals? No. I mean, would I be surprised if it's Mishawaka and Greenfield Central? Not at all. I think there's like you said, just an even field, and who's ready to wrestle, who's not banged up from the holiday tournaments, who's not sick. I know there's some teams that had some sickness going through them. There's a lot of things going on right now. So, and sometimes some guys some teams bring back a guy that's ineligible. He becomes eligible at the after the break, and all of a sudden life's a little bit different here. So
that's kind of how the rankings are too. Starting some guys back that were out grade wise, and they took care of business. So congratulations to those guys. But definitely one of those tough things. I think this is a really even field across the board. Like East Noble wrestled really well at what's their conference?
Northeast State. Yeah.
They wrestled really well that day. I mean, if the team that shows up that day shows up here, I mean, they can make a deep run. Yeah. I know New Pal and Hobart, that's a team that they've kind of been battling off that medium class elementary the last couple of years. So,
yeah, it's
shout out to Franklin too, man. Franklin hosting the elementary duels the next day. My nephew's gonna be there wrestling for Hobart. So
nice. Yeah, East Noble has a pretty solid team. I think they don't have like the superstars, but they have 14 pretty solid kids. So I think they're one that you're gonna have to come to ready to wrestle 14 matches, or they're gonna snag 7 or 8, and next thing you know, you're gonna be on the losing end. So
yeah, it looked like they wrestled pretty well at Spartan Classic. Just a lot of solid guys. I don't know if they had a lot of champs. I think Biddle was a champ.
Yeah,
Biddle or Baker was a champ, but they moved up to 4A for elementary. We're gonna ruin the rivalry now.
Yeah, so they're gonna.
I don't like it.
I think the East Noble had a couple champs, but still, it was a really good. They're gonna be a pretty solid team to. Okay. In that division, this one's going to be the craziest matches, and I could see the top 4 seeds going on, but I could also see them. I mean, I could see 3 or 4 of them losing. I mean, in the quarters. I mean, that's not a slight on any team. That it's just so even. I mean, Greenfield Central wrestled well at Spartan. Columbus East wrestled well this past weekend. So, it depends on how Columbus East just lost to Cathedral last night, so that should be interesting. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how how everything plays out at 3A.
I thought Floyd had good results. They placed ahead of Avon at Modern Day Classic, right?
Yeah, and that was without Hunter May not wrestling the second day. So
yeah, so I think overall this is probably like the most drawn out of the hat class, where you're going to say, okay, and obviously I was talking a lot about, Hobart, but Hobart, took a loss to Rensselaer. We didn't talk much about Rensselaer, but
yeah,
when you're, they would show up and wrestle like that, that's not the day. So it's going to come down to coaching and who's going to have their guys ready, right?
Yeah. And, travel, and I mean, it's going to be a busy day for a lot of the coaches, because they're going to have practice and travel, and then they also have the girls semi-state. So if they're focused on that, there's a lot of stuff going on that can distract you.
Coach Reeson has a tournament he's hosting that day, right?
Yeah, he's going to be he's pulling double duty. He's head girls coach too, so he's going to be at semi-state for girls semi-state, and then his assistant coaches are running practice, obviously. Then they're driving down to Franklin. And then he's going to meet them there. And then, I don't know, I assume the other people left at the school, 5 or 6 people left. They're going to be setting up for their tournament. So that's man.
Got to have a strong kids club to handle that kind of work.
Yeah, you're going to have some strong assistant coaches. And hopefully he takes them out for a nice drink.
He dual Sundays too. Man. I know on the when we did the team vote, he was at a tournament also. I know he was saying that someone's wrestling.
No days off in the Reason family, I guess.
Man, hey, that's how you stay busy.
Yeah, yes. No, that's I mean that's what the coaches, when you're looking at these coaches that are at these at the state tournament here, it's not surprising that they're also going to be at the team state duels the next day.
Oh yeah, I mean, how many of these teams are represented there the next day? I know Hobart and I was kind of looking at it earlier. They didn't have the lineups.
What is it? Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
sorry, I was getting a. I think I got to text my team, let them know we don't have lifts tomorrow. I just got hey, I'm not gonna be at lifts, but I'm pretty sure we don't have lifts this week. So
Uh-oh. Where is the DAC? I just had it. It's ISWA. Elementary state duels. Let's see what teams are there. I'm gonna say, let's see, how many teams are there? 30 teams. I'm going to guess about 25 are probably at. I don't know. I guess maybe not. Alphas Wrestling. I do not know what that is. So if you're Alphas, I'm sorry. Avon, Bloomington South.
who's Alpha? These guys gotta know, man. We got a whole nice crew in here.
Yeah, Brownsburg, Crown Point, Center Grove, Chesterton, Columbus North, Delta, New Pal, East Noble, Floyd, Franklin Central.
Tony Reiser on the middle school. You got in the middle size. You got Hobart, Bloomington South, Plainfield, Franklin, New Pal. Johansson, New Pal moved up. Kokomo, Roncalli, Floyd Central, Mishawaka, Lowell, and East Noble. I mean that's a lot of teams that were in the mix to get there, and a lot of teams that were, right on the cusp of getting in.
Yeah. Franklin, Garrett, Hobart Husky. I don't know which one that is. Huskies. I don't think that's Hamilton Heights, but I know there's another one that's usually pretty. But I can't think of who that is. Indian Creek, Adams Central, Kokomo,
Husky
Leo.
Isn't that Hamilton Heights?
I don't think that's them. I might be wrong. Mater Dei, Mishawaka, Noblesville, Oak Hill, Penn, Perry, Plainfield, Roncalli. Yeah, so I mean, it's amazing that I'm being very sarcastic in that saying it's amazing, but most of those teams also have teams at Team State, and that's because they have good programs. That you don't get to Team State without being there. So, yeah. So, anything else on 3A?
No, I mean I think it's going to be a really good day. Yeah. I think that the fans that are going to be there, I think you're in for a really, really tough day of wrestling.
That's one I'm going to be checking in on quite a bit during the day. So 4A, this is the big daddy, the granddaddy of them all. This is going to be some interesting matchups. Brownsburg Cathedral.
Yeah, I know you guys were there. And, I mean, obviously me and Dane, we talk a lot. I mean, I thought the seeds were going to shake out a little bit different. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, he does a really good job. So, and I know he sent out a text yesterday that said his rankings held up last night. So.
He's crossing his fingers to see if they hold up here. But there's pretty good matches here. Mays, Bismeyer, Bragg, and Reynolds. That should be going 4 and 6. Other Reynolds, Dylan Graham, and then Weingart and Brewer. That should be. Hey, yeah. I'm a big Weingart fan. I don't care. I want to see him wrestle a lot because he's not afraid to get after it. Then Jose and Forrester, that should be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of guys in the mix there too. And I thought Cathedral wrestled really well at Yale Smith. Mm-hmm. I know there was a handful of guys I believe they lost in the blood round, but they definitely look like better than I saw them a couple weeks ago when we saw them wrestle Center Grove. So that's going to be a pretty good duel. I mean, they kind of hit a spot where, Bismeyer be the favorite with Cash Mays, but Cash Mays wrestled well at Ironman. Mm-hmm. Dickman's obviously a heavy favorite there. I think they said they had a hole at 120. I don't remember. I know that was one of the debates with 3A. I think they forfeited 120 at Trikoff, but they were kind of saying it doesn't really matter. Gavin Bragg had a really good Al Smith. Mm-hmm. Him and Reynolds should be good.
Yeah.
Hakade's a beast. Ison's a beast. Graham and Reynolds, that could be a really good match. I think those guys have, I think they're pretty. Their families are pretty close.
There's 5 matches that I would say are probably toss-ups. I mean, I'm not gonna say Cathedral wins them all, but if they win all 3 of those or all 5 of those, it's a little bit closer than you'd expect in the first round. So,
yeah, I mean, one go the other way where you pull off an upset somewhere in there, but I think where like Brownsburg's gonna be really good. I think they're gonna get a good amount of. Cash is not. They didn't wrestle this past weekend. I don't know if he's wrestled since Iron Man.
Yeah.
I think Eli Ogie's been there.
Yeah. So yeah, that should be a good one. Evansville Mater Day. Round 3 with Avon.
Part 10.
So.
I wonder if Kenny Harden's gonna do a little pre-gaming outside, a little cookout.
I know.
He ate some pretty good wings last year.
Yes, he did. I'm going to have to get with him. So, Avon Mater Day, round 3. Probably nothing too surprising here. Rio and Schaefer at 26 should be another good one. Sarah Bauman. Avon won pretty handily last time, I believe.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at the Mater Day results and just kind of seeing where Mater Day had scored so many points based on like Avon I think someone said they took all the 50-50 matches, but I thought Avon's wrestled really well this year. I think they have a really good squad, and I think they lost. I know they lost a guy to out-of-state wrestling too.
Yeah, it's
really out-of-state wrestling. Probably a smarter move for him. I mean, he got to go to Florida.
Yeah, 41-18. And that there's no details on that, so should be some interesting matches.
I was actually surprised Warren Central fell down as far as they did. I know that they wrestled a couple guys at Al Smith, but I thought that Avon, I thought it'd be Avon Warren Central there. No, Avon beat them at Cathedral.
Yeah, that should be. Yeah, that was. I mean. Could be interesting. I'd been interesting to see if I was Mater Day. I definitely. I mean, nothing against Avon. I'd rather be against Center Grove or Crown Point or even Brownsburg, just so I could see those teams before semi-state or state.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Mater Day, you want to get Center Grove would probably be a good one to see just because you're gonna. Yeah, that could be a tick-around match. You know, you can get your adjustments. I mean, I guess Avon would be too. I mean, they're all coming from the same regional.
Yeah. So, Cook might have been one of the spammers I banned from the other night.
Was it Bearcat Wrestling Club? Come on, Joe.
Jeez, he has so many burners, he doesn't even know what they are. So, Center Grove, Warren Central, you got Easley Brown, Arbery Courtney running that one back, Stitz and Cashman.
Yeah, that was a wild match. I know we talked about it the other night on the holiday tournament. That Courtney Arbery match was crazy. Arbery had a day, man.
Yeah.
But that match was wild. They had to bring him back.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking about that the other day. Like, once you leave the mat and everything, I'm surprised they had him come back and continue to wrestle.
Yeah.
He was gone for time.
Yeah. He has a pretty good 40 time to get out of there, which I understand he was upset, but that was one of those, I don't know the exact rule, but I guess sometimes you can kind of, referees have discretion to change things like that. So,
will Harden and Klausner wrestle each other or wrestle in turn? I mean, I think Center Grove will run those guys out there. Yeah. I mean, Cathedral maybe not. I mean, he's wrestled. Kyle's wrestled.
Yeah.
Durham, Cresia been looked really good. He's an animal. Cashman beat Stitz, or did Stitz beat Cashman at Al Smith?
Stitz beat Cashman, I believe, per the rankings. Let's see.
I think Braylon Smith, I have him in the wrong way. He'll be at 190. I know he hasn't wrestled a lot this year. So at Al Smith, they didn't have Dylan Willis, Braylon Smith, or Paris Green.
Okay. Yeah, those are some pretty big guys. Yeah, Cashman and Stitz was 5'4", so that's be a good one. Russell Klauser could be another good one. Green and whoever they threw out there.
Yeah,
I thought I saw Shot wrestled last night.
That'd be interesting. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit after the Al Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Shot's gonna lose. I mean, we were talking about in the Crown Point duel. Like Shot is just hard to move, kind of slows the match down. He might be able to save you points against Crown Point, but I mean, I'm not saying he couldn't win, but if you're looking to save points, he might be the better guy. And if you're looking for, I mean, Nate Johnson's out there throwing home runs.
Yeah.
Um, So sometimes you put yourself in, tougher spot. I know Clark ended up pinning him, so that'll be interesting matchup there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one of those just interesting because, like you said, Shot's more of the old school heavyweight, and
We didn't even talk about it during the holiday, and I mean, Coach Swain will have that decision to make. We didn't talk about it in the holiday duels. I mean, how about Coach Swain with the save when that that scoreboard was about to hit that guy in the head? He ran over there and caught it.
Yes. Yeah. Just doing what he needs to do to save the day. Yeah, that thing was about ready to collapse.
And I give a shout out on the mic.
Yeah. So Crown Point, Perry Meridian. This could be really ugly. Crown Point's good. Yeah, Lewis, Leon, Taylor Gendris. MIA Jesse Franklin.
Well, Jesse Franklin's a North Central kid. That's not. I haven't seen him at North Central. You haven't at Perry Meridian, but he's a North Central kid.
Okay. So you see some of the random things that we have on our on the watch list. Reinhardt Huckabee, Aiden White, Sear Godwise, Reading Young.
I'm glad Joe vetted this before he put it on there. Because, I mean, we have some other ones that are probably not as flattering sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think those guys wrestled first round last year too, didn't they?
Possibly.
Or did they wrestle Penn first round last year?
There we go. Yeah, MJ Morton. Yeah.
I think he's not. I think he's at Ron Cali now, right?
He might be. I don't know who.
Which one went to Ron Cali? One of them went to Ron Cali. Was it MJ Morton or was it?
No, it was. I'll tell you in a second. No, I guess not.
He's not on there. They have some guys that are MIA too. Perry Meridian. They have a bunch of guys. Honestly, I mean, you have Jordan Dale, or you have
Billerman.
Warren.
That's the Billerman.
Yeah, Billerman. Tyler Billerman or Toby Billerman.
Yeah.
But Perry Meridian has a ton of guys that just doubling up in some of the weights, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, that could be a really interesting matchup there. So, Brownsburg Avon, we've seen that one before. That was not pretty.
It wasn't pretty last time, right? And I think they did it without Ison.
Yeah, they did that without Ison. Reynolds, I mean, there's really not much to talk about here. Obviously, Dickman and Rio getting a bonus match because they don't wrestle each other enough.
I know, man. I think he said last year, but man, Rio probably got a handful of losses.
It's the prettiest 84-0.
Yeah. If you're on the 84 side.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah. So yeah, we've run this one back. We don't need to go over this one.
What about if it's Modern Day? What if it's Brownsburg Modern Day?
Oh, yeah, let's try that one.
Because that one's gonna have some. I think that could have some exciting matches too.
Allstott, Mays, Schaefer, Haynes, Henderson, Reynolds, Schaefer.
And then I think in the middle there, Gibb and Vanover. But then I think in the middle there, those guys start to kind of pull away.
Yeah, and then they close. I mean, Brownsburg closes pretty darn strong too.
Was Mason Day not in the rankings?
I don't know. Did you drop him out?
I shouldn't have.
Unless, let's see. No, you have him at 7th. I don't know why it's not pulling that in correctly.
I was gonna say.
I don't know.
I think that could be a good duel. I mean, Modern Day has, man, in the past they figured out Modern Day was, I mean, a little insight. They were the last team voted in, and I really do think just the conversation, people might have been kind of
there we go.
leaning towards Penn.
Yeah.
But Penn is going somewhere this weekend. But Penn's pretty tough, and I think Penn's about to get tougher too. I think they're going to add a pretty good piece in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think you might have hinted that in the rankings.
I did, but we didn't put it in there, did we? I left it unnumbered. Did it go in the rankings? If it is, man, that's a little teaser for you guys. I told them I was going to.
I guess he is not numbered.
Okay. we got a couple things cooking.
Yeah.
Rumor wise.
Yeah, there's a good rumor going around the Fort Wayne area. I will not divulge what I am hearing, but I have some moles in different places that are investigating rumors. I will say that, and I have some pretty good moles, some very interested moles. When I told them today,
yeah, I think those two we have pretty reliable sources in both of those.
Yes, very reliable. And so let's check out the Crown Point
Center
Grove match. This is one of those where it's going to be interesting. I mean, we have the scores. We can kind of run a little bit of some scores down here. These are not perfect scores, but just kind of seeing where this is going to end up based on some.
Man, that Down Brown Landon Hawkins match was really good.
Yeah.
At Al Smith.
Yeah. Just kind of putting down. Why is Reinhardt not pulling in now? There we go. White, Klauser, that's probably, that's a 3, maybe a 4, and then 3 and 3. So, man, it's a lot closer than 30-21, kind of based on rankings, more or less rankings right here. I mean, you got some matches sitting in here. You got LaRocca and Gendris. You have Hawkins and Brown. I mean,
I think, and Justice Thrasher, Tegan Newell. I mean, Newell ended up having a better. Did he have a better Al Smith than? No, Justice Thrasher plays higher, right?
Yeah. So you got Goss and Sessa too. I mean, you got a lot of real close matches.
That was 1-0 last year at Al Smith.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, there's no room for error with Center Grove. They're going to need to pull a couple of the. I mean, 3 over a 1's not a crazy upset. A 7 that went to that the kid had the lead in the last 15 seconds. Not going to be we're not going to be like totally shocked if that happens, but that would give them the win there. So, but that's also putting,
That's wrestled really well at the Al Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he only lost to pretty good guys.
Yeah, I mean, that weight class had what 5 or 6 guys with state experience, and I mean he was right in there with everybody. So
and that'd be interesting to see if Klauser's back. I think he will be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have some flexibility in there. I know he's wrestled some 90. I mean, do you take him to 90 and wrestle Reading? I mean, Reading looked really good at Al Smith. I thought he wrestled really well. I mean, Paul got the pin over Johnson. I mean, if Johnson goes back out.
Yeah. If Johnson starts going back out there, that's going to start getting ugly.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, and we're kind of erring on the side of, Gavin Lewis. I mean, I don't know if these guys have hit each other a ton.
No.
I mean, did these guys wrestle each other a lot? Any of these guys hit up at Al Smith?
I do not believe they did, but I will check here.
Did Shep wrestle Vander Legaren?
He might have. Let's see.
I know he was teching everybody, so if it was, it's probably a technical fall.
Team Raw results. Hawkins over Brown, obviously. Shepard over Vanderluca. Yeah, he teched him. So we can make that one a 5,
Yeah.
But, I mean, we're also looking at, we're looking at a dual meet scenario where there's going to be, and then Clark over Johnson. So those are they only met up, surprisingly, they only met up 3 times. I would
I
have.
know,
I would have taken the
Homer,
over on like about 5 or more.
Homer was trying to do all the dirty work for the Bulldogs. I know
Yeah.
Coach Johansson doesn't want to hear that, but
Yeah. So, yeah, that should be very interesting. That's gonna be a good duel. I mean, Jenner Grove's gonna have to pull out all the stops. They're gonna have to get a couple upsets. They're gonna have to have some guys. I mean, Courtney could definitely get some, more than 4. They could maybe get a Creja. The way he's wrestling,
yeah,
he pinned his guy in the finals. I mean, if we go 6 there, that's going to get very interesting. You get 5 here. You get a win. Maybe LaRocca recaptures number 1, and then you're talking 28-27, and we're in business again. So I mean,
if
I'm
LaRocca beat, that's just going to be a mess. That whole weight that weight is pretty close up top, and it's like. I mean, Genders is wrestling really well.
Yeah.
And then, I think we said 10 through, 40. 10 through 40 is, like you could probably have that ranked every week. Yeah. Those guys are all real close.
Yeah. I was looking at looking over the rankings today, and I'm like, what about this kid? And I'm like, he has a win over this guy, but then he has some, some people someone sent me a guy that's had some wins. I'm like, so I went and looked at what he's done. About trying to get a profile, and I'm looking like, man, he has some good wins, but he also has some, he's right in that 10 to, like you said, 10 to 30 range of guys that you're just throwing them in. So yeah, this is gonna be a good duel. Excited to see it. If you did not listen to the Dana and Rex show, they are running these straight through. I think there will be. I just want to double check the bracket before I say too much. But
Coach Snyder said they're going to have all 4. No spotlight, right?
No spotlight. So they are going to. So it'll be the first round will be everybody wrestling. Second round will be semis and consolation, and then consi semis on 2 mats, and then the finals on 4. So they'll have a true third, and then so there'll be 4 rounds. I think last year they had 5 rounds. So we'll get home a little bit earlier. I mean, I like the spotlight, but I also know that when we were there last time, everyone left except for Crown Point and Brownsburg. And, I mean, I'm sure those fans of those other teams probably would have liked to stay, but if you're going to Mater Day, you're not going to stick around. I mean, maybe the Cathedral, maybe Perry people might, but same time, if I'm at Mater Day, I'm like, I'll just watch it on my phone on the way home, that type of stuff. And I understand it. I mean, I probably would if I was, at those schools. And so having everyone together, I think will create a cool environment. Everyone's going to watch it. There are quite a few people there, so I understand. I mean, it's, and I'm Coach Snyder kind of listening to the people. He's a man of the people. So, this will be a good one. This is another good one. Going off of rankings here, just to see where things shake out. I got to put 4 for Hockaday. 3. That was a 1-point match. Probably anything.
Yeah, I think they have a different. So some of these guys hit up at Carnahan.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have some of those rematches. I mean, some of them didn't, some of them did. I don't think. The Clark brothers got sticks in the finals. I don't think Henry and Reading hit each other. I don't think 75 hit each other. But White wasn't in the lineup that day. The smaller Clark was.
Yeah.
I don't believe Reinhardt and Derringer wrestled there, but I know they wrestled there last year. Dave beat Van Tichel twice there. Gibb and Cruz was a 1-0 match. Parker Reynolds wrestled Oscar Baca there. I know Captor was down at 50 last night against Maryville. So I know Evan Cruz kind of got banged up at the Al Smith. We talked about that on the Tuesday show. Newell and Mays, that's a big one. It sounds like their dads like to hang out and have some drinks. But if Mays isn't in the lineup, that's a huge swing.
Yeah, yes, it is.
And like I said, I thought Newell wrestled better at the Al Smith. It was tough. I mean, you're a freshman, and I think he's pulling pretty hard, and I think we've talked about it on here that he might be pulling a little bit of weight. Like going to Ironman and Carnahan right off the bat when you're pulling weight like that as a freshman is really, really hard.
So I have 1, 2, 3, and then winning 6 matches. So
I think I had it 7-7.
Yeah.
At one point.
Yeah. So this is obviously a toss-up match. Obviously, if we run it like this, it's going to be a tie. And it might look a little bit. I mean, 27-21 should be pretty good. You got Dickman, Lewis. Dickman is good on top. I would not go underneath him. I would.
Yeah.
I would not if I were anybody. If I want my kid to have shoulders left.
Yeah. Haynes, outside of the IPO, I think Haynes has had Gendris' number, but Gendris beat him at IPO. I know it was an injury default, but he had taken him down to his back, I believe, to take the lead, and it was a short time injury default.
Yeah.
But those have always been really good matches. Obviously, a state quarterfinal match from last year.
Yeah.
Reynolds Hawkins was a really good match.
Yeah, that was a close takedown.
I believe there was a really close takedown at the end that didn't go Reynolds' way, but Sessa, Hockaday is really good.
Yeah.
Do you start mixing and matching? Brownsburg has a lot of guys. Crown Point has a lot of guys. And the varsity too. Crown Point, you don't have, I guess you're not having as much flexibility in there. You're not throwing out, they have a returning medalist on the bench right now. I don't know if you're throwing him out there and bumping away because you're going to need Gendris to beat Haynes there. You don't throw out sorry.
Once you get
Haney.
to that.
So you're going to need some of those guys. And those guys might be able to bump too. Do you bump Derringer away from Reinhardt? So Brownsburg's bumped the last 2 years and it's kind of bit him in the butt, right?
Yeah.
Last year bumping Gunnar to Will, and Gunnar had Will's number, and Will ended up getting a fall there, and I think that kind of took the momentum away from him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they lost that 82 or 95 because they bumped Brewer up too, didn't they? I thought they bumped Brewer up, and they kind of knew what they were hoping to do is win the coin toss and kind of force Crown Point to have the to make a move with Cruz, and they didn't. So Brownsburg didn't win the toss. So basically, they kind of were they had to force their hand, because if they didn't throw out someone that was better, if they didn't throw out Brewer there, they would have bumped Crown Point would have bumped Cruz up to 95.
Yeah, and then the year before that, they had Gavin Garcia bumped to 45. He bumped away from Mendez and ended up wrestling and losing. So I think that's a tough one.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, they have some guys that they can insert, but at the same time, if you're inserting someone at 38, you're bumping up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, and the 5 guys have to wrestle outside of their weight class. Kind of where Crown Point, if you bump out Washington isn't ranked. You could probably, if you put someone in if you bump Landon, Sonny, and Shepard up, you're only bumping 3 guys up a weight class, inserting a 26, whatever you want to call it. Maybe they insert someone at 32, and then you're bumping up 2 guys. Away from Hockaday. So that's the I guess it's not as fun at that level when you have that many ranked guys there that you can't. There's really nothing you can do. You got to wrestle straight up because you can't bump up half your lineup. That's just
it'll be interesting weight wise. I know I don't think I'd have to see what they weighed in, but I think they have some flexibility. I think Sonny could probably make 26, and then you have some flexibility there. I don't know if he beats Reynolds there, but if you have Tommy Gibb, I don't think it's a really big 150. Possibly he's at 44. You flip him and Reynolds, and maybe Tommy gets they could throw Capture out there at 57 and bump Van Titchell and Reinhardt.
Yep, yeah, we were talking about that a little bit earlier, and that's something they could do because to cover those weight classes, and you put Van Tichel or Captor in versus Day or Gibbs, and then you're bumping Van Tichel to Daringer. That's a toss-up match. Probably a little bit more favored towards
I mean,
Crown Point. So if you do that,
how about if they said, hey, we're starting this one at 30, let's start at 38, or if they say, hey, we finish at 38, maybe they bump Hockaday to Shep, you get a 1-versus-1, come down to that match. That'd be pretty exciting.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they, what each. Where it starts, who wins the toss.
How far is Landon Haynes ahead in his recovery? I know. Yeah. I think he was injured like midsummer. That's a state medalist that they have. I don't know if he's been weighing. I'm just throwing this around. I haven't talked to anybody about this at all. But there was something like last year with Max Forrester before he tore his ACL. I think that they were trying to put him at 220, and then have Leighton at heavyweight, which I think could have been different for those guys because Max is huge.
Yes.
But if you have a guy like the other Haynes, Landon Haynes, maybe you throw him out at 32. He wrestles Sonny, that's a medalist, and then you bump Jake up to wrestle Shep and bump all those guys up a weight. Maybe they bump a weight.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something you can maybe do. Maybe they're starting at 65 and they kind of come to the conclusion that, okay, we're going to have to make a move here after 126 to try to do this.
I know those guys are showmen too. I think both coaches, they're not afraid of the big matches,
Yeah. And they're gonna try to, they're gonna look at, analyze everything, and they're gonna try to figure out if they can make some moves. They're gonna have it to a T. Like, hey, we need to be up by 7 points at this point at 132, or we got to make this move. That type of thing, and that they're gonna know in the morning kind of where they're gonna need to be with the where it starts and stuff, and that's the fun thing about duels, is being able to kind of, that's why I love, coach, when I was coaching at Garrett, it was kind of fun to bump around sometimes and try to manipulate it to squeeze out a win, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but it, that was always added some fun into coaching. Whether, it was a lot of, things that you did beyond coaching moves, and like, hey, we need to put this kid in here. He's our sacrificial lamb. He's going to go up against a state qualifier, but then we're going to rattle off 3 or 4 wins, and that's going to, win us the duel, that type of stuff. And
so I know last year we kind of talked about it. I was wondering if they had posted like lineups on the team site. They have. So it looks like you're going to have Crown Point's bringing 3 6s. They're bringing Haney and Lewis at 13. So, that gives you some flexibility too.
Yeah.
Dude, Derek's a great coach. I think the bumps have kind of been in the last 2 years. I'd be interested to see if Crown Point tries a bump and if it bites them, or Cam Stash 120, LT at 26, Sonny at 32, and Roberson 32. Jacob Jones 38. That's some flexibility there. Former freshman, sophomore, or middle school state champ, or freshman, sophomore champ. Had a really good match against Mount Carmel last year. Really good football player. Baca, Washington at 44. Cruz and Captor at 50. Ben Clark and Griffin Van Tichel at 57. So it definitely gives you some flexibility in there. Tony Brooks, they have a pretty good freshman backup heavyweight, but I don't see a scenario where you're like, we're gonna sit Paul.
Maybe he's too nice on the mat and only takes about 34 seconds to pin a kid.
Yeah. So same thing. Brownsburg's bringing 3 6s. Dickman Haynes, Landon Haynes at 26 is listed. So
that'll be interesting.
Reynolds at 26. Landon Haynes at 26, returning medalist. Hockaday, Eisen. So they have a bunch of guys where they have some flexibility also. They have a really good backup heavyweight, but again, like, you're not gonna, flex out Max. You got Noah Fugate's pretty good, but you're not gonna flex out Max there.
Yeah. Crown Point definitely has a little bit better scenario to pull a load of a bump because of and nothing against Washington or White, but those guys obviously they don't have numbers beside their names. They're the weak links, and
Yeah,
in their lineup. So they have.
That was their two guys that didn't place at Al Smith, and I mean,
we're trying to figure it out.
I think Center Grove hasn't posted theirs yet. I mean, do they get McConnell to 90? If you run McConnell at 90, that changes that Crown Point duel.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think he'd be a heavy favorite over Reedy and a returning state runner-up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're gonna give a match to Will, but I mean, maybe you take two there,
Yeah. What's Center Grove versus? I mean, it's very much a possibility here. Got 3.
I mean, we don't got Shots on there. Shot was 4 the week before. I'm just gonna alternate those guys until we get to the state tournament. But I mean,
3.
McConnell, Henry's beat him in the past. I mean, maybe you have Brewer there. I mean, I would assume that Klauster's probably going to get bonus there. I mean, that's a pretty good duel also.
Yeah. 4, 3, probably 3 there. So, I mean, that's just off the top of my head. Klauser, I don't think I'm missing anybody. Why am I messing these up?
Yeah, I think. I mean, that would be a pretty good one. And some of those guys, they kind of hit a couple spots at Ironman. I know Goss and Hockaday wrestled there.
Yeah. That was a major, wasn't
Reynolds
it?
and Courtney have split.
Yeah.
Was it regional and at Team State last year?
Yeah. So yeah, Reynolds and Courtney. Yeah, that's gonna be. There's gonna be some good matches. I mean, you got how many? Mays and Thrasher. That's a close one. That's a toss up. There's a toss up. There's a toss up. 3, 4, 5.
I mean, Rock has kind of had hands as number the last couple of times, right?
Yeah. 8 toss up matches, basically. 9 toss up matches.
Yeah.
I mean, guys within probably 5 or less ranking spots. 5 or less. There's 9.
Getting that 1 seed was huge for Brownsburg, and I'm not saying that they couldn't beat Center Grove, but it's a pretty close duel.
Yeah.
And they earned it. I'm not saying that it was given to them. They won. They placed higher at Ironman. They placed better at Carnahan.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that could be. I mean, like I said, there's 9 what I'd call toss-up matches that could easily. I mean, that could make
Caden
this.
Rogers was in at 120 for. I thought Caden Rogers wrestled really well at the Al Smith.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't the guy that they had early in the year.
Yeah, it's Will
for Cathedral.
Oh,
sorry about that.
So yeah,
no disrespect to Caden Rogers, man. I don't want.
Yeah. So So 5. This could be. I mean, this duel could get ugly either way real quick with 1 or 2. Wins here or there by either team. You switch a couple of those and it starts getting kind of out of hand real quick. So yeah, that could be. I mean, I want to see those 3 teams in a round robin. I'll be honest. If we can just do that and everyone else wrestle out for 3rd or 4th, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, now that you have Warren Central on the other side, I thought that Warren Central, Avon, if Mater Dei was flipped with Warren Central, I think I would like to. That's how I kind of seeded it. I mean, even though I had 0 input on it at all, but I like to have seen that Warren Central Brownsburg. I mean, selfishly, I think that, and I would like to see Mater Dei Crown Point right off the bat. I think Mater Dei Crown Point. There's a lot of good matches in there. I like to have seen Schaefer Hawkins 1 and 2, and then if you went, I'm on the side that I think that like Warren Central is kind of underrated. I know. I mean, that's going to happen when you take some losses and they can only use the information they have. But like I said, I think Wills. I mean, I don't know what they ended up placing at Al Smith, but I think Wills gets points. I think Paris Green gets points, and Braylon Smith, I believe, was a ticker rounder last year.
Yeah. So that should Warren Central. I'm just seeing what these guys, what the consolation. I mean, the consolation matches are going to be pretty good too. Mater Dei, possibly, and Indianapolis Cathedral. Man,
Man, I miss cooking these chats. Why'd you kick them off there?
I didn't. I never.
Me and Joe Butler, man. That's what Joe's my guy, man. I thought I really do, and I mean, I want to be close too.
Yeah, there should be some good Bragg and Schaefer and Reyes, Bismeyer, Allstat, Graham, Herman. I know Herman has been in, or he's on the watch list. Harden, Weingart, Smith. So, yeah, So there should be. I mean, you have the crossover, then the Center Grove, Crown Point loser will get the Modern Day and Cathedral winner. So you could conceivably see that Crown Point Modern Day match too. I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see if some of the guys, I know there's some guys battling injuries. He is. That's what he does, man. Eric said you're an excellent typer.
Oh, thank you. I do all day.
How many words per minute?
Yeah. So yeah, there's gonna be some good matches. I'm excited for it. I know we're gonna be down there. Or at least hopefully you're down there with your little hip issue. You might be on.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, I'm gonna go to the chiropractor again tomorrow to hopefully get this thing worked out. I can be back moving good, not like having to stand up and try to work it out. It's not feeling good right now.
Yeah. So and hopefully we get the weigh-in sheets. That'd be good, and then we can kind of do the. I almost went to the exit. We could do the. We can kind of get a little bit of a idea of what the moves possibly are. Obviously, we see the rosters there. I think last year they had Hockey Day down at like 120 or something, and I'm like, whoa. But I think I assume he either certified there, or that's what they just put for track, and they just mass uploaded people, and they didn't double check the weight classes. So that
maybe
was
they'll gauge the ship,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd be putting like Forrester down at like 220 just to see.
Oh, if I was Center Grove, I'd put McConnell at 90 and put Nate Johnson, even though I seen the weigh-in sheet from the Al Smith at 215. And,
yeah.
I mean, that changes the way it looks. I don't think Nate's losing. Dude, Nate was pretty big, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I expected him. Maybe he's like, oh, maybe he's gonna be making that cut. He ain't making a cut there.
No, they're nothing about his cut.
Weight.
Yeah, so I don't know what they're gonna. That's gonna be interesting what they do, going forward. And like I said, they have that kind of play that, it comes down to a heavyweight match, and you have two totally different styles of heavyweight. You got to go for probably your home run hitter if you're down. But if you're down by 4 or you're up by 4, you got to go with the old school heavyweight. Say, hey, do what you do. Don't make it tough on these guys.
He's strong, man.
Yeah.
Shot's tough to move. He's a big, strong kid. I'm not saying Johnson's not strong, but Johnson's a little bit more high risk, high reward.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to watch. I love watching Johnson wrestle because he's going to get after it. He's going to try things, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But they're fun. He's fun to watch, and so that's a tough coaching decision to make. I mean, that's. You have two seniors that have state experience that have helped your team out the last 3 years, and you're like, man, I got to make a call. I got to go to the bullpen. Do I go the lefty or do I go the righty? I mean, that's
yeah. I mean, good thing that they're good coaches and they kind of have a good feel. I'm sure we're not telling them anything that they're not aware of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're probably saying the same things, and it's gonna be a great day of wrestling, and I'm excited to. I'm just so glad. I'm happy that this thing has really taken off more than anything, that to the point where it is now. And kudos to all those people that did, have made it what it is. And, at first people were kind of questioning it, and then it's got a whole lot of steam, and, teams really enjoy going there, whether it's 1A or 4A. And it's a real cool event, and it's pretty cool to see this and cover it more than anything.
Modern Day does have a Weinzaffel in the lineup, so
those are always dangerous.
They do have a Weinzaffel listed. Noah Weinzaffel, 190 sophomore. So they've had pretty good luck when they've had a Weinzaffel out there.
Yes, they have. That's their key. So we'll be there.
We've hit some of the big ones. You got a McGinley at at Cathedral and you got a wine vat full of Mater Dei, all's right in the world.
Yes.
At Cathedral, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah,
no
Luke,
Baker at Belmont though. There's no Bakers in their lineup. There is a
now you're
Myers though.
a Baker.
No, there's no Bakers in their lineup. They do have a Myers and a Fro and a. So they do. I mean, I think that makes up for a little bit for
Oh, they
it.
got a Baker. They got Grady Baker, backup heavyweight.
Okay.
14 and 8. He's not even the backup.
Ah,
They got a Baker. They got yeah. I think there's I seen they've been posting all their state medalists. They got Palacios. They got Meyer. They got Luganbill. I feel like there's been a ton of Luganbills.
yeah.
Farrote.
Yeah.
So they got a lot, man.
Yeah. So, anything else we want to go over?
We're gonna be. I think we're streaming the event as the 4A, just the finals, right?
Yes, we are going to plan on doing that. We're gonna do it through hopefully our YouTube channel, and do that live, so you get to hear our wonderful voices. We're not gonna try to plug into the other stream like we did last year because that failed miserably. So
Thanks, Jason. Jason's a good dude, man.
yes, he is. So yeah, it's gonna be a great day of wrestling. I'm excited. I'm excited to follow the other ones. Like I said, I've said
If
that.
you're at Brownsburg, on the hallway, right when you come in, they have like their Hall of Champions. And I always thought this was really cool. I thought this was really cool last year. They have a video from all of their championships that plays on like a loop. So you can see like when Brayton won at Team State for him one year. You got like Lance Lynn pitching for him, winning a state championship for Brownsburg. So it's a pretty cool thing that they have. I thought that was really neat when we were there. It's like their trophy, and then they have all these like videos, which I was like, man, I wonder why more teams don't do that.
Yeah, no, they really. I know their superintendent takes a lot of pride in their athletics, and that goes from the top all the way down. They take a lot of pride in their athletics. Their gym's great. They always want to host they always want to host it. And they have great, that big video board and everything's pretty cool. Except for last year, the kids couldn't see what the time on it. They were all looking up. That was probably a bad thing. But
I know they're building a pretty nice field house, they said.
Yeah.
I know Derek said that you have to come in through a different door, so it's not going to be by where the trophies are at this year. Because they're doing some construction. They're building a brand new field house. I know they were saying last year they would like to hold the whole event, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what their superintendent said. So I have no pull in that. It'd be cool if we could have everybody in the same place. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely would want that. I am definitely a team. Let's have everybody in the same area because I want to go see 1A. I want to go see 2A. I want to see that 3A bracket just get busted up.
Yeah.
I want to see those matches.
Like, for me, I love to just like see the matches. Like I always say like I was there when they bumped Bam Lawrence up to wrestle Joe Lee when they were both ones, and that place went nuts, man.
Yeah, everyone, that mat was packed. It's like all of a sudden, like, what's going on? And I assume somebody texted me like, hey, and I think we were off, so I got to venture on over there. But yeah, that play. I mean, everyone just started just hoarding that mat and real good match, and that kind of stuff's gonna. I mean, that's what's awesome about the team state.
Well, the 1 year they Cathedral's done, they're like, well, we're just gonna bump Zeke to wrestle Jesse, and they stopped. They stopped the matches.
Yeah.
And they watched Zeke wrestle Jesse there. I mean, that was kind of the dream with Angel and Reese back in the day.
Yeah.
And it just, I thought it was a really cool thing, And we never got outside of the Friday night when Reese and Angel were freshmen, we never got when they were both returning champs. Yeah. I know there was some opportunity. I think they were both at the Trikoff at that point. I thought that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. No, and I think that's what's cool about the kids these days aren't afraid to go after those matches, and coaches aren't either. I mean, I guess it kind of takes a combination of the kid and coach to go after those matches. And what do you have to lose? What does Zeke Seltzer have to lose? They're losing that duel. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah, Lemley Seltzer, Sergio went up. Yep.
Yeah, that was cool. So yeah, that a lot of cool matches that that you're not gonna get during the state series because they're in different weight classes, but. Yeah, and I'm sure there's going to be some bumping here this weekend, and it could be some cool matches. And yeah, Reese and Jose.
Yeah, Jose Escobedo back in the day.
Yep. So, yes. So, Ken, yes, we will be at 1. or 4A. Sorry, we'll be at 4A. So I'm excited. It's be some great wrestling. That's my another weekend on the road, I guess, with wrestling. So I'm hoping to maybe take a weekend off soon. Actually, next weekend I'll be on the road, but not, well, kind of wrestling. So
Yeah, we're gonna. I know we got some things that we're gonna do. Team or Mater Day, or not Mater Day, but Mount Carmel, Crown Point. I'm sure that'd be something we talk about next week.
Yep.
But that was a good duel, and Mount Carmel did a good job. And I think there's some intense rivalries getting built there.
Yeah.
Seems like some good trash talk getting built down there.
Yes, there is. So that should be a good one. So before that, though, we have some business to take care of this weekend. So with that, we're gonna let you guys go. Man, we went just almost 2 hours already. So
2 shows, 2 hours. Talk about predictions and stuff. Who you got winning 1A?
Who do I have 1A? I'm gonna probably go Adam Central. I really that's bad because I hate to go against Tell City, but I think Adam Central has a pretty solid team, top to bottom. What do you have?
Adam Central just shut out IndianaMat. I think they've only been shut out one other time before that at the Wiley duels.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the flying Jets.
Yeah.
Knocking out the 2-time defending champs, but I could see Tell City winning it too.
Yeah, I do not want to vote against Tell City though.
I wish they were opposite sides, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how the seating broke down on that, but I would like to have seen them both opposite sides on that.
Yeah.
Who do you got at 2A?
Ooh, man. I'm going to say, I mean, it was a 1-point match last time. I think Delta made some moves that they probably shouldn't have. I think Delta's probably going to pull, and plus they're going to have Romness back. I think they're going to pull that one out. I think they're going to have enough. I don't see many things changing in that duel.
You're not going to be welcome back to the Rex Den.
No, I'm probably not.
They're going to charge you double at the Double Eagle.
Yeah.
I think Cody's done a great job with that program. And I think they have some pretty good middle school guys, too. My brother's in here, the middle school ranking guy. And we got the former middle school ranking guy in there, our youth rankings guy. Eric was it before. They're doing a good job. That should be a good one. A lot of tradition there. Belmont Delta, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think adding Romness is the key right there. Because I don't see much. There weren't too many crazy close matches there that someone can flip. So, what do you gonna go with the Braves or?
Dude, yeah, I think so. I think that Jay County Delta match will be pretty good.
Yeah. 3A.
I'm only going East Chicago.
Yeah,
I'm going with Rensselaer Central and Hunter Hickman. The fighting Hunter Hickmans. Let's go, guys.
3A. Oh boy. Who do we want to piss off right here?
It's just a prediction. And if this is the motivation you need, I think that Hobart Round Cali winner is going to come out of that top part. I mean, Terre Haute sounds good. I really do, but I think Hobart looked really good. I see those guys pretty regularly. They're not. We were making the joke. They're not afraid of hard wrestling, right?
No. Yeah,
I'm going with Columbus East.
Yeah, that's.
I
think the winner comes out of the bottom half. I think it's either Floyd Central or Columbus East. I think Columbus East is just a little bit better. They're always 1% better. No, they always have that one. They just always have a solid team, and they're just hard to. They're not a good matchup for anybody.
Not that Floyd looks bad, by any means. I haven't seen Floyd this year, and getting Hunter May back helps a ton. But Columbus East just looks solid. All their guys wrestle in good position, and they're just solid wrestlers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm excited to see Terre Haute South too. Honestly, I haven't seen them.
Yeah. They kind of wrestle in their own little area. They did go up to the to Mooresville, so we got a little bit of a see where they are at. There's a lot. That bracket. Like I said earlier, Greenfield Central's in the finals. I'm not gonna be floored by that. If Hobart makes the finals, not gonna be floored by that. If
Steve pulls out the championship with Mr. Walker, I'm not gonna be shocked.
Yeah. So there's so many teams there that
They got some hammers, man.
Yeah, you get going, you get rolling. Snyder has some solid kids. They could make they can make that. They're going to make that Greenfield Central match really interesting. They could make a Columbus East match really interesting. So it's one of those things that, it doesn't take much. Kids wrestling well, kids just not caring, not giving a flying what, and saying
they put that on the light. That's a good duel, man. That's a good duel of the week at Team State too.
Yeah,
Cathedral Columbus East. And just looking at their roster, they do have Will Mason listed at 38. If Will's able to go, he's pretty good. That could be a huge bonus for Mishawaka.
Yeah,
that's a guy that's going to get you a lot of wins. I mean, depending on the level of health.
Yeah, so I probably agree. Just because consistency, Columbus East is probably the most consistent top to bottom. Their lineup's always going to be solid, and they're going to wrestle hard, which is what you need at a dual level. You need just consistent kids up and down the lineup, and I think they're probably the most consistent lineup from 106 through heavyweight. And
yeah, if Will Mason's a go, and I'm sure you never know. Yeah. I might go with the Caveman Bricky in the semis up top. He's Chicago strong, my friends.
Yeah, Brickies and Cavemen, you can't go wrong. There's gonna be a lot of good matches there. So I need us to do a bracket prediction on this one. That would be ugly.
4-8, who do you got? Who do you got winning it?
Someone's gonna hate me. Do I
hate you?
I mean, based on the heads up, I can't go against Crown Point right now. I think but that doesn't mean that. Yeah, I gotta go with Crown Point. I think just based on that heads up, it just isn't one of those. That doesn't mean I don't think Brownsburg can't, maybe win team or individual state. That's the thing. I think Brownsburg might be a little bit better tournament team. Obviously, they've shown they're better tournament team the past at 2 events. So, and in the rankings for our power pool, that confuses everybody.
Yeah, it does. I see you put the points on there this time. I like it. I think Crown Point pulls it out. I wouldn't be shocked if it was Brownsburg. But man, I think this was the first weekend I got to see Crown Point. Some of their younger guys wrestle at their level, so it was a little bit easier. Like I said, man, it's tough. Like you're gonna go wrestle some of the, and I mean, you can say the same thing about the young guys. Braylon Reynolds probably not feeling like he's the best guy, one of the best guys in the state. I think he's probably has a close to losing record. He's right at 500, but he is. And when you start wrestling guys that are not nationally ranked guys every weekend, you're probably gonna have a little bit more. He's 12-5. He's not close to 500. Man, they got a lot of matches in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be a good one. Kind of you feel like this is Center Grove's year. If Center Grove's going to do it, this is the year for them, right?
Yeah.
They have a lot of seniors. This is the year they have to get it done. The toughest thing on the individual side is that those guys have to go through each other to get there. Yeah. They have to go through each other at the regional. They put themselves in a position, and then they're going to run into some modern day guys.
Yeah. Modern day, Floyd Central, some.
Yeah. Like I think 1, 2, and I was talking to someone today. 1, 2, and 3 at 150 are coming out of, and one. So you have Creja and Gibb, and then you have a chance to draw Hunter May.
Ouch.
The loser of that. So like those are big points that you're expecting to get possibly a semifinalist that could be left in the, semi-state quarterfinals with no full wrestle back.
Yeah. Even you're thinking semifinalists possibly. A worst case scenario, he's gonna probably pull back for 5th. If they would draw somebody else, now they're sitting at home. So yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be some good matches. I'm, hopefully no one's too upset, but yeah, the prediction game is very interesting, and I think, and more than anything, I think Crown Point closes out when you have Will and Paul are pinners. They're bonus point machines, and obviously they pinned them last. They wrestled those guys the last time, and if you can guarantee 12 points in that duel for 2 of your guys, that's huge.
Oh, dude, that's I mean, I had it the whole time since last year when I started trying to put lineups together. I had a 7-7,
Yeah,
and I think you know I had more bonus points going towards Crown Point.
yeah. I think that's going to be. Um,
I think Parker and Jake could get bonus points. I think they should.
yeah,
And then I think Will and Paul get bonus points. And I think you probably get Reinhardt with bonus points. So
yeah. Dickman might be able. I don't know if Dickman's gonna be able to get bonus points, but he's one that I can see getting bonus points because he is very
I think
good on
that's gonna
top.
be I think that's gonna be a really good match.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I think Dickman's really good. I think Gavin Lewis. I was really concerned about his weight cut. It looks like he's really. I think he's done a good job of adjusting to that weight.
yeah,
I thought he looked really good at Al Smith.
yeah. Yes, he looked very good. So yeah, especially with a 2-day weigh-in, that's gonna tell you the true story. So yeah, if it would
Russell
not.
back
I mean,
to third
it's
on
gonna
hand.
be a good match. Dickman can put some really good kids on their back, so that's what's
Yeah,
scary about him.
he's one of the best pound for pound guys in the state.
Yeah, well, we'll maybe do that next week. So
Trying to get these rankings out every week, man. I think that's the hard part.
yes, it is. So yeah, so it's gonna be some good wrestling. Obviously things can change on a dime. Somebody rolls their ankle in a semifinal match and can't go. Some things happen. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how these things go. I mean, there's some good matches and some great matches and at all divisions. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. I mean, it could be number one pound for pound.
Yeah.
Joe's not wrong.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
The last time we saw him wrestle, he beat Don Moretto, who's a world champ.
Yeah.
Not state champ, not national champ, just number one guy in that age for the world.
Yeah. So
Pretty
how many guys currently in Indiana have a victory over a world champion in the past 2 years?
In the past, none. Zero, probably.
One. Yeah.
Yeah. Outside of him, probably nobody else, right?
Yeah. So that's pretty. Yeah. I know that's on our list to kind of do update our pound for pound and our grade rankings. And maybe we'll do that during the state series when things kind of like sectional, regional weekend, when things are a little bit slower. So, yeah. So,
yeah, I would think top five, you'd probably say
yeah.
pound for pound, all class, Dickman, Hockaday, Will Clark, D. Crezia's up there.
Yeah, Crezier just be a top 5 guy in the country.
Yeah.
Again, it's something not many people can say.
Yeah, is there any, like, who else? I mean, if you did top 5, Will, I think
Yeah.
Crezia. Hey, man, by the end of the year, you might be saying Clinton Shepard, right?
Yeah. Hockaday, Will, Gunnar Henry's had some natural success. Cresia, Paul, Dickman, Kressel's done pretty good. Obviously, he took a loss, but yeah, there's a lot of guys.
Reinhardt mixed in.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I have to definitely get those updated.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting. So, anyway, I think we are good for this week. Anything else you want to go over?
Nope.
Okay.
Shout out to my chiropractor. Hopefully, he does some magic tomorrow because his hip working.
That's what happens when you get old, hitting the 4-0.
Yeah, no, man. 41 was no joke.
So,
Got some compressed discs.
So yeah, we will. I guess we will see you guys. Probably go back to our regular scheduled program on Monday. Recap everything.
No more holidays for a while. So.
I know. And then I'm gonna be
Well,
back.
Monday. No, 2 weeks would be Martin Luther King birthday, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks. So.
We don't get that day off work.
Nah, we don't either. Kids get an off of school, but I do not.
Maybe we do. Tony's in the chat. Tony works in the office now. He'll let us know.
Nice. So with that, we're gonna let you guys go. We will see if you're at 4A. Come say hi to us. We are of the people. So
We'll be at the Kenny Harden barbecue
yes,
pregame.
yes, we will. We gotta make sure he's barbecuing for us. Gotta get some lunch. I felt bad last year getting some.
Let's go. We get Martin Luther King's birthday off. Let's go, Tony. Looking out.
man, speaking of man of the people, man, he's helping you out.
Dude, that's the guy, man. He was gonna bring me some medicine tonight too.
He's
Got a tire, nail in his tire.
he's changing the world one day at a
Yeah,
time.
well, dude, he's out there wrestling every day because he got to get Reese back up to speed because he was out injured. He didn't get to wrestle middle school season. Now he's coming back.
Nice. So
I told you, man, he told you got to tell Rocco if he wants to get baseball cards, you got to do push-ups.
I gotta get him to do it. He's been
push-ups and chin-ups to get Legos.
He's been a little bit of a lazy bum lately this past couple weeks, so we gotta get him. Luckily, wrestling practice hopefully I think it starts up next week, so we gotta get him. These last 2 weeks have been pretty lazy and for everybody, especially when I've been gone half the time. So
yeah, I think you got to tell him, man. You give the incentive.
Yeah.
He said, "Man, you want Legos?" Dude, I would see Reese. He'd be like, just 700 push-ups. I'm like 200 push-ups away from getting this new Lego 3D Lego thing.
Nice. We're gonna do that. We're gonna start doing that tonight. I forgot about that one. Tony Reiser, he's not wrong. He's Mr. Right.
Dude, dude, Reese got big, man. I seen him over Christmas.
Nice. No, Tony, he's only been wrong when I changed his name to Mr. Wrong.
No. I remember he told me, he's like, why did you do that for?
Oh, yeah. So, okay. Well, we're going to get out of here. We will see you guys Monday or Saturday, whatever then. So
I'm sure there'll be a lot of good wrestling to talk about.
Yes, there will be. So have a good weekend, and we'll see you later.